Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jones with C.T.S.O. Cut that shite out. Appreciate you checking out my channel. I'm doing this early in the morning. There's a lot going on. What do you call it? My webcam isn't working, so I'm using the one on my laptop. So I don't know what the deal is with that. It's not like I use it that often, so that kind of pisses me off a little bit. And I hope the volume and everything's alright. This is my first time using the cam on my laptop. Anyway, alright folks, just like a few things I want to put out there. This Sunday, before I forget, not this Sunday, this Friday, this weekend, watch out for Good Friday and watch out for Easter Sunday. March is said to be the time for certain things to happen. A lot of the Q followers of QAnon, that whole clique of people, slightly occult, because some people tell you not to badmouth it and all this, when really you should be gathering your information any way that you can. Sorry for the shadow. Like a shadow there. I mean, whatever. Like I was saying, I can't straighten it out. Like I was saying, my webcam's down, but I wanted to put this up real quick. So like I was saying, watch out for Easter, watch out for Good Friday this weekend. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a large chunk of my money out of the bank. I know that we've spoken of a bank reset for the financial system to do certain things. Not that I have extensive knowledge on none of this. I definitely don't. But things are really gearing up. Now, if you guys noticed, I see things getting hotter and hotter. You see the kids in the street yelling for gun control, yelling to have their rights taken away. Isn't that the craziest thing? You're yelling to have one of your rights taken away, and they're not even they're just talking gun control. They don't know anything about guns. They don't know the history of guns. They don't seem to be aware that the guns is not for you and I to protect ourselves from each other or for hunting. It's to keep the government out of your house, in which our government is very much tyrannical, corrupt, and this is the reason why things are so terrible across the country. I mean, we are the biggest bullies on the block, and by the block I'm talking about, I don't know, the earth. All right, the United States has been going to other countries and messing their countries up. That's a large reason why other countries are so suppressed and so poor, shithole countries, and all of that. And that's a problem. And it's basically the United States going somewhere and bullying somebody. Now, please pay attention to this. Say you're in your neighborhood. It's yourself and your neighbor, and you hate your neighbor. You don't even like your neighbor. But some outside source comes in, outside source or some group of people or that threaten, like say you're a farmer and your neighbor's a farmer, and they're threatening your land, threatening to take away your land, threatening to take away your rights, threatening to sabotage your crop or your cattle or whatever you have, all right? Some outside source that doesn't belong there, that doesn't live there. What are you and your neighbor most likely going to do? You guys are going to then band together, most likely, to defeat this outside source. Okay? And essentially, that's what other countries are doing. As the United States is doing their little thing, going to other countries and messing them up, taking money and really just being just evil. Other countries are banding together to withstand the blow against us and our allies who are assisting, if there are any, really. But as far as I know, that's what's going on in other countries. And as you can see, other countries, we're doing a lot of bullying. And in our government, we're doing all sorts of things with one hand, and the other hand can't see it because our government is not in an agreement. It's not one government. So, we got 17 agencies, and there's all these rogue parts, and there's all these different societies within them. SES, the Senior Executive Society, everyone's been talking about that. And the CIA and the FBI and the FBI is kind of split as well. And and the Marines are against the FBI, and this is just such a mess. You know what I'm saying? It's such a mess. So look, there's some crazy things going on. So like I'm trying to say, look out for this weekend, okay? I'm going to take a large chunk of money out and not have it in our electronic bank. Though, what are you going to do with your money if all electronics were to fail? But Alex Jones on InfoWars has mentioned that it appears that all the people who own bunkers and whatnot, they're in those bunkers right now. They've headed towards those bunkers. And not to scare anybody, I don't have a bunker. So I'm out here with the other good Americans who are trying to pay attention to what's going on and educate ourselves and not listen to this, what you see on television. And these kids, man, I mean, do you see that? They're not open for discussion. They're pointing the finger. They're not talking about actually being safe. They're just straight up banning guns without wanting to have a discussion. And we are all a part of this, and we all should want to help. There's some really great ideas out there, and they're just knocking them down. Listen, when you do something like this, and you want to give away your rights, that's a big problem. And I understand things have happened, but if you look at the statistics of everything, guns kill less people. Even assault rifles kill less people than cars, knives. And by the way, these statistics that they say about all the gun violence every day, do you know how much of that is suicide? If you're saying like 90 people die by guns a day, 66 of that is suicide. But you know what? These numbers, you can bring numbers up, you can skew numbers. Numbers have really gotten on my nerves, though numbers are very important. But when we're talking about numbers, I think we all need to be talking about the same numbers, and we need to talk about the same institutions and have an actual conversation of what's going on. A smart, intellectual conversation. Now, those kids being kids and not out of high school, they're like, you already know the system inside the schools are not teaching what they should. This Common Core crap is crap. They're not teaching kids history, and history is very important. But as I've mentioned, we are at war. This is a war between good and bad, period. We are at war. And these things are seen in the Bible, and the Bible tells it all. And as a matter of fact, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen this weekend, but I plan on ordering my new Bible this weekend. I was looking at, I'm a very particular person, so I was looking at some things, and I wanted my Bible to have decent large lettering, font, something easy to read. So folks, there's a lot of things going on. And by the way, on that note, on the guns, any place where there was heavy gun restriction, the violence ran rampant. As well as the countries that have been taken over when guns have been given up, such as Venezuela, North Korea, Cuba, Communist China, Mexico. Those places aren't doing so hot because their citizens had these strict or no guns at all. Look into that, please. I don't want to spell all that out. But heavy gun regulations, if you notice, it makes the crime go up. And I do believe that it's all of these blue states. The red states, no. The blue states, check those out. All right. So, and that just sucks, man. The people don't know history. As I'm looking at my notes here, so for the Florida shooting, I would like to note that no one's taking responsibility for the police who showed up and didn't go into the building. No one's going to talk about that. Also, no one's going to talk about the crime scene being tampered with. You see the videos of when the shooting happens, shortly afterwards, what is it, SWAT or FBI? FBI is running to a pickup truck with a bunch of bags, and the car drives away. The truck drives away. It's a pickup truck, right? So you got multiple people carrying this bag. Doesn't look like it's big enough for a person. It looks like most likely it's the weapons, right? It's thrown into this pickup truck and drives away, all right? They're not talking about the actual things to solve this, or to see what the hell happened, or to ask the correct questions. And this is just so weird, disgusting, and odd, because we see this often. We see this all the time. And by now, you knew that there were so many red flags for this particular person. And I don't exactly believe that this person did this stuff. I don't. Never told me who the gun was registered to. There's just so much information. Like, you need to be your own detective, because we know what narrative they're pushing, and it's to take the guns away. Our government is so disgustingly corrupt. We got to pay attention to this. Also, those of you who know about Seth Rich, there was an investigator investigating Seth Rich and was shot in the, I don't know if he was like literally shot in the back, but was shot at behind his back twice. And that's just a crazy story. I wanted to look into that. I didn't have time for that. Sorry about that. So, yeah, as you can see, this stuff is nuts. People giving away their rights is nuts. What actually happened to the Jews actually happened to the Jews. And if you think that that can't happen here, it's not supposed to be able to happen here, because there's a gun behind every blade of grass in the United States. All right, this is very important. This is a fundamental to freedom. Slaves don't have guns because slaves don't have rights. That's where we're getting to. All right, these marches, it's crazy. This stuff is boiling over. It's getting real hot, and time is short. Now, let's talk about Trump's, like a couple of Trump's helicopters that have gone down. Recently, one of Trump's helicopters went down. I think this would be like the second one. This would be the second one. So on one of these helicopters that had Trump's immediate family on there, the helicopter rotor, the rear, sheared off. Okay, and thank God they've got decent pilots, because in a helicopter can free fall and still maintain the ability to land it safely without dying. All right, let's just put it that way, because the rotor's still spinning, it's still creating enough drag. You're not exactly free falling, and as you fall down, the blades they're all, let me get my hands in the blades are all turned a certain way. So as it's falling, if you know what you're doing, you're able to hold control of that and get yourself to safety. You're most likely going to shoot yourself, and you're gonna need and like it's going to be a rough ride, bro. But those are the things that can happen on a helicopter. So I did my research on helicopters like a long time ago, so I appreciate those things. So that happened. Also, there was an engine failure. Once again, the main rotor is able to handle an engine failure as well. So no engine. Okay, so now you're going down, but pilot's got to keep calm, know what he's doing, and he can land that. All right. The one big thing though, when the rear rotor breaks, if you're at a high enough altitude, that's the only thing for the rear rotor is its only job is to keep the plane straight or going whatever direction it wants to go, or else the helicopter can start spinning around with the rotor. So there's a lot of things to play with that. With that being said, this has happened to Trump's helicopters with him or his immediate family in them. This is scary stuff when someone's messing with your family. All right, there's a lot that's going on. You understand our government is in layers like an onion, but I can understand if we're losing Trump because they are messing with his family. You know how his family's probably shook up from the most recent accident that just happened. Okay, you're in the air, you're in a helicopter, and you don't want nothing to happen to your family. If he's got any weakness, it's going to be his family. With any man, right? If they couldn't find anything else, they're bringing out stupid Stormy Daniels and all these crazy things. They're not finding anything. They're not finding Russian collusion. They're not finding none of it. So now they're playing hardball, and they've already made threats against Trump's son, Barron. Of course, it's the rest of the family, but come on, what are you doing? They're playing dirty. All right, they're playing dirty. So This guy can't do it all. He's done great, but he can't do it all. And when they start messing with your family like that, I can understand if that's the last straw. I really can. This is the time, like Roy Potter says, is to prep, pray, and stay out of the way. Things are really heating up. It's getting bad. It's getting really bad. And we're going to need to pay attention. You're going to need to have your food supply and water supply. I think this weekend's a good week. Is before Friday is a good time to make sure of this. Okay. Have 30 days of food and water ready. We don't know what's going to happen. Things are getting weird, right? You got to agree with me. Things are getting weird. All right. So once again, don't turn in your rights. These people aren't talking. It's still in March. March is supposed to be a dangerous time for us. The world is in complete turmoil, and this thing's getting hot. All right, so we're gonna have to storm. Weather this storm here. All right, we're definitely gonna have to do that. Hey, that's all I got for you guys. I just wanted to, sorry I haven't made a video in a while. Shout out to everybody. But I'm going to keep on watching out, and let's make this thing happen. I'll see y'all later.